Welcome back to the in.pencil podcast. I'm Adam.
And I'm Jess.
And guess what? We're like actually in the same room together.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, maybe this will be the first actual in-person, in.pencil, in thing.
Podcast.
Yes, precisely.
We've done several other things. We have something in the works that will be coming out soon that we did in person together. But every time we've tried a podcast together in person, something has gone wrong.
Yes, but we've tested our audio on this one, and it should sound nearly perfect. And if it doesn't, I'm blaming Apple. That's how we're.
If it doesn't sound perfect, you'll never hear this podcast. There was a year-in review podcast that never happened this past year because we did it in person together.
Last year wasn't really that spectacular anyway.
Yeah, it was a year-end of like our favorite movies and shows and stuff.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
We did the music one. The music one was not done in person.
Yeah.
But the other review stuff was, and it was a mistake. Not the podcast. It was a good podcast. It was just... Anyway.
So if anyone's paying attention, they're probably wondering, why haven't we had a podcast in like a month?
Well, that's simple. We haven't recorded one in a month.
Oh, but there must be a reason for that.
Well, I just want you to know, we are a monthly podcast.
No, we're not.
Who occasionally does more often and mostly does less often. Oops, there was a...
Mute your phone.
Yep, I realized that.
We're in person. All right. Yeah, well, all right, so I have moved back to Tennessee temporarily, potentially, or permanently, potentially. I'm not sure yet. And I've started a new job, and I'm getting... Oh, hang on.
What did you do?
It did something. You can change the audio. Stop. Okay, I don't know what the hell that was. Anyway, I've moved back to Tennessee temporarily, potentially, or permanently, potentially. I'm not sure yet. And so, yeah, most of our future stuff, at least in the immediate future, will be in person, which will hopefully increase the frequency and the quality of the content that we develop as art. It won't.
The quality of the content, the quality of the recording, not the content. The content's still going to be questionable.
It's ours. Whatever.
It's ours. It's what we do. So that's what's been happening. So maybe we'll be a bi-monthly, as in twice a month podcast.
That's semi-monthly.
Bi-weekly?
Bi-weekly. Or weekly.
Yeah, right.
Or daily.
Yeah, okay. We're going to do a daily podcast?
We could do a daily podcast.
No, we couldn't.
Yeah, we could.
We could barely do a monthly podcast.
That's true. Okay. Well, we had some topics to discuss.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the big one.
Which one's the big one?
The big one is the game to end all games that was released.
Yes. So if you didn't know, I'm trying to think of a dumb game that got released this past week. I can't think of any. Tears of the Kingdom is a dumb game. I don't think it's a dumb game. So yes, we're talking about it. We are a little over a week since The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, the much anticipated. I don't know if I pronounced much correctly at all in any of those times.
You're talking about munching something.
The much anticipated sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild came out a week and a few days ago. And here we are on the other side of that. Let's talk about it. First of all, it is wild that it feels like it's one of those games where the entire internet is talking about it. Like,
yeah, so let's not be the exception.
Yeah, it's cool because last year's was Elden Ring, and I don't have a PlayStation, so couldn't play Elden Ring. So I wasn't a part of that, where everybody was talking about how they were playing Elden Ring, and it was big. I feel like Elden Ring was as big as Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know if it actually was, but this was a monumental release. It feels like so many different people are talking about it, and it might be a bigger event than Elden Ring was last year. It feels bigger than Breath of the Wild even though Breath of the Wild is huge, I felt like, but it feels big. It feels like one of those defining moments.
Well, I'm sure we're going to have plenty of podcasts and episodes that are discussing this new game. I guess we should really kind of focus on what are your first impressions after playing it.
So first impressions are, I Let's start with the positive, and then let's discuss the negative, and
Sure.
then we'll come back to the positive, because we are a sandwich method
That's
podcast.
right. It's a shit sandwich. You got the bread on top, then you got the shit in the middle, then you got the bread on the bottom. The good stuff is the bread, and then the shit is. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, so the good things are, it seems a lot of people love it. But we'll just go over that. Very high rated on Metacritic. I've seen a lot of people say it's the best Zelda game they've ever played. I just to be honest, I have not beaten the game yet. I am 30-ish hours in, I guess. I've got other things I have to do, so I have not played it religiously, but I have stayed up till 1 or 2 in the morning almost every morning playing this game, because it's my one free time to play it.
Adulting is hard.
Adulting is hard. So what I really like is, and this is going to get into some spoilers. I wouldn't say like major game spoilers, but moderate spoilers. Spoilers in the fact that like we did not know any of this before the game come out. And I don't know if you want to hear this, Adam. Are you okay with moderate spoilers?
I don't mind. I'm not invested too heavily into the game.
Okay.
I'm playing it, but casually.
Yeah. So I will say this, like I think Nintendo's actually put this on their socials. The depths. The depths is the spoilerly thing I want to talk about that I didn't know. And
the underground section?
Yes, the underground. So when they talked about there being an underground section, there was like these caves that you just kind of walk into, and they even showed in like Eiji Aonuma, when he was doing his demonstration, showed like some caves. And I thought that was the underground section. But no, that is like the surface, but still part of the surface.
Yeah, it's like under the mountain or whatever.
Yeah, and so that's what I thought originally, because that's how Zelda games have kind of been, that was like, you have these caves and it's underground, whatever. But the depths are like deep, way underground, and they are creepy.
It's like a whole other layer of the game on top of what was already there.
Yeah, it's Hyrule. You take Hyrule, and you got the Sky Islands, which doesn't look to be that many. Like, it doesn't take up that much space, and I thought that was pretty much it, and some caves. And there are a lot of caves just on the surface. But then you've got the depths, which is an entire, pretty much the same size as Hyrule, just underneath Hyrule. And it is dark, and those enemies are, if they hit you, they will you can't recover that heart until you do something special. You could lose a heart in them. And there's important stuff you got to do down there, and it is creepy. I remember I went to do this one main quest thing in there, and it's actually one of the first things you do in the game, or it's one of the first things you're supposed to do. This is not how I got introduced to the depths. I did it by accident, but it was a creepy journey where you're just going through and you're seeing these statues and you're following these statues, and you can hear the creatures off in the side, and they're like this corrupted version of creatures in the above ground. And that's just wild. It feels like the Upside Down from Stranger Things, if you know what that is.
I don't know.
It very much feels like they were influenced by the Upside Down, and they just turned it into game form, and they made it creepy, and it makes sense, and it goes into so much lore of Zelda, like this is serious lore stuff. So I love that. So that's what I'll say I love, is my big thing is the depths. Again, I don't know how far along I am in the game yet, and I don't want to say what I have done, because that's getting into some more spoilers.
Sure. But overall, you're enjoying it.
I'm very much enjoying it.
So yeah, my experience has been, it's okay. Some of the puzzles are a little complex, and the abilities are cool. I like the abilities, like being able to merge stuff together. That's pretty cool.
Did you see the merged of the person who...
The penis?
Yeah, the flame-throwing penis.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. I don't know what motivated them to want to do that, but hey, creativity,
I don't think you've clearly not played enough Mario Maker if you don't know why people do that. People make...
I understand why people would do that. I just don't understand. I don't know, whatever. Do your thing, homie. Do your thing. But that's weird. But you know what? The puzzles, I'm not very far along. I only play like maybe 30 minutes a day, if that. I'm not dedicated to it.
We also got to point out, Adam never got off the Great Plateau in Breath of the Wild when he was playing it. So
I did.
You did get off of it.
Did, barely. I got off, and then I went into one of the shrines, and I was like, okay, I'm bored now, and then I just kind of stopped playing it. I didn't record getting off it, but I did get off
okay.
it. But
Yeah,
I think I've been to the second shrine so far in this one.
Okay.
So I got the second ability, and I've been playing with it, and some of the mechanics are kind of... No, I think the one thing for me that I don't personally enjoy is like, I just don't find the dialogue very compelling. You know, it's not an RPG.
No.
So,
no, Zelda games are not known for their heavy story. Like,
yeah.
I know a little bit about the story of this, and it's so far pretty online with what you expect from a Zelda game. It's pretty basic, simple.
Yeah.
This like Mario with a little extra is what a Zelda game is.
So I guess the big question is, I don't know if we want to put this now or after we're finished with our Zelda sandwich, but
Zelda sandwich.
where's Odyssey 2? Like, is that next? Is that what we're doing?
I don't see...
Come on.
We can talk about this briefly and finish up her Zelda sandwich.
Okay, sure.
I just don't see Odyssey 2. If it does not get announced this summer, I don't think it's coming out for the Switch.
What other... I guess what more could they possibly do for a console after the Switch? Like, the cartridges are already as small as they can get.
Yeah.
All I can do is make better Switches, right?
Yeah, I think the next version will be... It might be... I don't think they're going to do cartridges in the next version. I think it's just going to be download.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That's unfortunate, but it makes sense. It's where games are going, and it's been where they've been going for a while. They might make a version that they might make a cheaper and a more expensive, like Xbox and I think PlayStation does. And that's where I hope they go with the next version.
Where you have one that's physical capable and then one that's just digital only. Yeah.
And that's what I hope their next generation is, that it has that option. But I think it's going to be like 4K. 100 or 60 frames per second on pretty much all games.
Do you think it'll be the same kind of format, the Switch format, the handheld?
I think I could see that, but because I think they understand the competition is on the go, is this thing right here. I'm holding up my cell phone. And you can play games on your phone. And so they need something on the go, a console. They have to fight against...
Like the Vita. Remember the Vita?
Yeah.
The PlayStation Vita? That was ahead of its time, really.
Now, this is the problem with some of the PlayStation...
handhelds?
Yeah, they were good. They just were not... PlayStation didn't understand the market as well as they thought they did, which was a mistake Sega made with, like, the Game Gear. The Game Gear was an amazing console, but they didn't understand the market like Nintendo understood it, which was... Nintendo understood simple. That you just need it to be able to... the batteries to work for a very long time. Good games with long-lasting batteries. The Game Gear... I had one as a kid. I didn't have a Game Boy. The Game Gear had terrible battery life. Like, we had to just get, like, portable... charging where you just basically stay plugged in all the time because you just couldn't use the batteries because they would just die so fast because it was color and it was just taking up too much. It was too much. And I think that's what PlayStation made the mistake. They did too much. Yeah. And they didn't understand. And you even look at the Switch, and the Switch is not too much. It's very basic.
Yeah.
They don't, and that's what Nintendo does well, is they don't give you too much. They give you
it needs to be something that can appeal to a wide...
Yeah, they want kids to be able to understand how to play this game, and old people and middle-aged people and 20-year-olds. They want everybody to be able to pick up and play. Yeah. And that also does mean that as long as they go with the handheld version of games, the Zeldas and the Marios are going to be very quick plots that you could do. Because if you know, like Breath of the Wild, what made Breath of the Wild work on a handheld was you could do a shrine, then you do another shrine, then you do part of a story, then you do this, but you can do it in quick chunks. In Tears of the Kingdom, another part of my negative is very much the same as that in a lot of ways. Like, I'm going to give some things away here, but if you start at the game, you'll understand this. There are shrines. I don't know how many. Basically, works the same as in Breath of the Wild. You have Korok seeds, works the same as in Breath of the Wild. There's just a lot that's very similar in mechanics, not the actual like abilities. The abilities are amazing because they're off the wall, literally. Once you get the Ascend ability, like the game. The dev team used what was their debugging features or whatever, like things that are just to help out that they were using. The abilities are just like features that they created so they could help progress in the game faster. And then they're like, what if the players could do this? So they basically made a way. All the abilities, all they do is they just break the game. That's the whole idea. It's like, you can do this any way you want. People built bridges to the sky.
Really?
Yeah. I saw one thing where you can lift a rock up in the air and drop it, and that's with one of the ability. Then you do that's the Ultra Hand ability. You lift it up in the air, then you drop it. Then you do a recall ability, which makes it go in reverse, like makes it reverse in time. It'll go up in the air, and then you do the Ascend ability on it, which makes you go through the rock.
Oh.
And you jump on top of the rock, and it's like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I heard about elevators. I remember the first time I heard someone use an elevator where you just lift it up and then drop it, and then you get on it and you call recall, and it will lift it back up to wherever you want to go. Awesome. And of course, as I said, like, people have built bridges to the sky.
Yeah.
Someone, I don't know if they've done it yet, someone's going to build a bridge in crosswise of Hyrule, like build a bridge entirely across Hyrule. And of course, I don't think the bridge will stay because some of it will despawn, but there's a lot of stuff in the depths that you do and it stays done. So I'm just curious, like, how far can you take this before it despawns? Like, what is the limit? And so those things are cool, but...
Well, that wasn't a negative. You haven't given me a negative yet.
Yeah. Well, no, the negative is a lot of the stuff is very samey.
Samey?
The weapons, there is a reason why, but the weapons are a lot less useful by themselves, which has made it, for me, harder to get good weapons. And I've started figuring out how you do this. You've got to fuse. You got to do a lot of fusing on weapons, and it's finding the right things to fuse it to. And I found in Death Mountain, near Death Mountain, there's these boulders or rocks that do +7 on a fuse. On the durability, and I'm like, whoa. So I like have every place those are, I have it marked out so I can go back it whenever I want to get a +7, which is freaking amazing.
So that's your sandwich then? The sandwich is done?
Yeah, my sandwich is done. Basically, it's very samey in a lot of ways to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, but everything else is awesome.
Yeah. That's how I feel. What's your sandwich? Did you finish?
Would you consider this your game of the year?
It's the only game I've played this year, so yes.
By default. There we go.
I don't have any plans of other games to play this year. I don't think.
Unless Mario Odyssey comes out at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If Mario Odyssey's coming out, like, the Switch can't have a much longer life cycle that they're going to be pumping out new games. They got to pump out new games for the sequel. We know that the Switch is going through at least the end of March 2024 because they said that at an investors meeting.
Oh, okay.
And the way they said it was not like it didn't sound like they were trying to not say anything. It sounded like they were being very direct, which means they have said it and they have to go with it. It's not them. They can't lie in an investors meeting, of course, because that is a serious crime.
Right.
So it seems like we're not getting anything until next summer, probably next fall. And I wouldn't doubt it if it's like Switch 2 is just like what people call the Switch Pro. It's just a higher powered...
Or a Switch U?
Switch U. I don't know what they call it. 3D Switch. New Nintendo Switch. I heard someone say they should call it like the new Nintendo Switch 3DS.
Oh, my God.
Which they do weird names. Like, everybody's
Super
like...
Switch.
What?
The Super Switch?
Super Switch would be an awesome name.
See?
Super Switch Entertainment Center.
Nintendo, hire me. That could be your marketing person.
SSES, like the SNES, and you got the S.
Yeah.
But
Super.
yeah, I think next fall is when the earliest that the sequel to the Switch comes out, whatever that will look like. Nintendo tends to switch things up with their stuff, and the Wii U.
I should put a sound effect right there, like where it's like gonna. Anyway.
Oh, I was doing the Switch sound, which is a snap and not a switch. They go.
Fair enough.
They're snapping.
It's the click for the things.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that one, whatever that'll look like, come out next year. And they'll need games for it, big games to start off with. And a few big games I think they'll start off with would be a Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom remastered, like HD. They really can't do HD because technically these games are HD, but only slightly. These aren't HD games, but they could do like an upgraded Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom with DLC or something.
Maybe a Mario Kart 9?
I think a Mario Kart 9 is very much likely.
And a Mario Odyssey 2?
Because and I think a Mario Odyssey 2 is very much likely. Not all that first year, I don't think. I question that. They might space it out. Well, maybe in that first year they might space it out, but I could see those. And we know that they're putting out like DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah.
Which is weird right now for them to do that unless they're testing things and they need to see how players are playing on them. And they're just seeing things. I wouldn't be shocked if that's what they're doing. These are just test tracks as they're building the game. And they're giving us out a little bit at a time as they're building up these games. So I wouldn't be shocked if these courses we get are just first versions of what will end up in Mario Kart 9. Because it's 48 tracks, which is a lot of tracks. To suddenly just give us. And it's either to hold us over, but that's a lot of work to do just to hold us over. It seems like maybe there's more behind this, and they're just, hey, checking the socials to see how people react to these tracks.
Sure.
And what needs to be changed and what needs to be tweaked before Mario Kart 9 comes out 2024, 2025. But I wouldn't be shocked if Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild get remasters. And that's one of the first games on the next Switch. And I wouldn't be shocked if Odyssey 2 comes out on it.
Yeah.
I think the formula they have for the Switch works. I mean, it's the Wii U, but in 3DS mixed together, basically.
Yeah.
Portable, but also has the gamepad, but also it's not a clunky gamepad. It's a very nice one. I got the Switch OLED, which is like the quote-unquote Switch Pro that we got.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of leakers who said, leakers were like, a Switch Pro is coming at any time. And then the Switch OLED came out and they're like, this is the Switch Pro we spoke of. And everybody was like, you said it was going to be 4K. And they're like, we did say nothing of the sort. It's like, no, here are the receipts.
What resolution is the OLED?
Huh?
What's the OLED? 1080p?
I don't know exactly what it is. But I got it. It's a little heavier. Nice. I think you played with mine.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. It works great.
Yeah, no spoilers. We got a video coming out about that. Or not about that, but like with that kind of... The video that we recorded.
Oh, we did record that on the OLED, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't forget.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to move on to the next topic? Yeah. Zelda?
So that was it. That's Zelda. That's our Zelda sandwich.
First impressions. Good to go.
Great.
I'm going to, in the title, I'll put a Zelda sandwich and then...
The Zelda sandwich with chips of... Like, the sandwich is Zelda, but then the chips, that's what else we're serving is... This is where you're supposed to say our next topic.
I guess we're going to go to Frank Ocean or Blink-182 or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, Coachella.
What about it?
Coachella chips. So, we talked last time we did a podcast where it was the middle of Coachella.
Like a month ago.
Yeah.
Was it a month ago already?
Or a monthly podcast.
Something like that.
So last time we did a podcast, it was mid-Coachella. First week had just finished up, I think. Or it might have still been... It was still in the first week. Blink-182 had just done their set.
Right.
So they did their set on like Thursday or Friday. I don't know how Coachella works. Maybe Friday. And we recorded on like Saturday. And then Frank Ocean like closed out the first week and did what I heard was a terrible job.
Really?
Yeah.
So I heard he was... Or I thought that the thing was he was like injured or something, so he had to cancel his headlining set.
That's what he said. There seemed to be a bunch of other issues going on behind the scenes, and what people saw, it didn't look like an injury. It looked like he wasn't ready to perform. From what I heard, I don't know enough about Frank Ocean stuff. He hasn't performed live in like 5-6 years.
I don't know a single Frank Ocean song, so I know a little about this.
I think we have to remember, like, I think something people forget is, like, you can't just get up there and sing for 2 straight hours. You actually have to you have to practice this. You have to be ready. This is work.
Sure.
And it looked like he wasn't fully ready to be doing this type of work.
Blink-182 was ready.
No. And so he did not come back for week 2. So in his place was a little old band that we've already talked about.
Just a
small band who has been touring long enough with their current band and with some other bands.
Sure.
To know how to do a good set.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I know a little bit about their first set they did when they did the non-headlining set, but when they did the headlining set, I don't know how. I assume that was taken pretty well and it was good.
Yeah, very well received. Everything they've done so far, this tour and their Coachella sets and everything else, been very well received. And my hopes have come to fruition in that they brought out some of the deeper cuts on the tour and have started playing them in some of the cities. They've been switching up the set list a little bit, and the set list is way longer than it was for Coachella. So I'm very excited to see. So we have tickets to go see Blink in Nashville in July, and it's going to be awesome. So we'll do like a little review of that. I'm not going to be the one at the concert recording with a cell phone or any of that crap. But
maybe we'll record like some of the footage of us going to the concert.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
So where is that? Is that Bridgestone Arena?
Yeah.
So it's where the Nashville Predators play, but not in June apparently.
It's an indoor arena, unlike Taylor Swift, who wants to do her shit outdoors, and
there's a reason for that.
Gets rained on.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Taylor Swift 3 nights.
Oh my God, she destroyed Nashville for the entire freaking weekend.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, it was crazy.
She had herself some fun.
She did.
Yeah. So and then that's Sunday night.
There's a whole other level of dedication that Taylor Swift fans have that no other fan base has, which is both terrifying. She could literally have a freaking army if she wanted to.
I heard people say she could run for president.
I don't know about that.
The thing was, like someone pointed out, said, okay, at the Democratic National Convention, which took place in Philadelphia in 2016, they talked about how many people were at that versus how many people showed up for one night of Taylor Swift's thing. Yeah, I know it's not comparable, but it is interesting. Like, I don't think she cares enough about politics to actually do it.
I mean, she has her causes that she cares about. Yeah. LGBT and I don't know. I think she's into some environmental stuff. Yeah. So, yeah.
But she could. Get the youth vote, but
I think it'd be about as successful as Kanye West's run for president, but
I think it'd be a little bit more successful.
Yeah, I guess. Only time will tell. Maybe it'll happen.
I don't think it'll happen. I don't think she will.
You never know. Crazy.
That's a pay cut.
We had Donald Trump as fucking president. Okay, lest we forget.
Yeah, that's true.
In 2012, if you had told me that the next cycle was going to be Donald Trump, I'd have been like, "You're out of your mind." Lo and behold, so crazier things have happened.
Yeah. No, wait for 2028. The Rock versus Chuck Norris.
I'm not surprised with anything with American politics anymore. Nothing surprises me. But
yeah, so she's going to run for president, and she's going to win by winning every electoral vote for the first time since Washington did it.
I mean,
I don't know.
Because she does have like this appeal to conservatives and liberals both. Like she has both sides of the coin, kind of, in a way.
But it would be a serious pay cut for her, and a serious
She would still get royalties from her music and stuff. So yeah, it would be.
We could call it Presidency, Taylor's version.
Remastered. Oh my God.
Who would be her VP?
Maybe she could pay off the national debt.
She probably could. She released one song and she's like, this song is going to be $10.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, it's recorded in the Lincoln bedroom.
The purpose of this song is to pay off the national debt.
It's called "Pay Off the National Debt" with a single song for $10 a piece.
Featuring the National. and dude from Panic at the Disco.
Why the dude from Panic at the Disco?
Because he was in that song "Me."
Oh,
I know too much about Taylor Swift.
I don't know much about Taylor Swift. I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not even a Swiffer.
I don't even know what that means.
But it's a thing that you clean stuff.
I know what a Swiffer is. I just don't know. Anyway.
I don't know.
Blink-182.
Yes.
Nashville. It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
So we'll let you know what we think about it.
Yep. And I'll be in a few months. 3-4 months.
Yeah. We will have podcasts between now and then. Every week or something. Every other week. Something like that. Yep. So we'll see. And we have things to... if Jessica just stopped playing...
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom, we could actually get some videos done.
Yeah, I've got a video I'm in the middle of editing, but I have not finished.
You have a few videos you're in the middle of editing, actually.
Oh, that's true. One's about Breath of the Wild, so I'm like, I'm going to hold off on that one.
Yeah. So.
Because I realized I need to know a little bit more about Tears of the Kingdom before I put out that video. I need Tears of the Kingdom to get out of to simmer down, that people would want to go back to Breath of the Wild again, which I think is coming soon, that people want to revisit Breath of the Wild. And
give it a couple weeks.
Yeah, and then I can put out that video about Breath of the Wild, which is a wild mathematical video.
Yes, you told me.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to.
It hurts my head. No, don't spoil it. No,
I'm not going to spoil what the video is about, but I would like to also do that same type of video for Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Once I beat the game and see exactly, because I think it's going to be harder to figure out, because I spent 5 years learning Breath of the Wild to be able to do math.
True.
Surrounding Breath of the Wild, so it might take.
You can't rush it. You'll miss things if you rush it. So.
No, so I'm gonna wait, because you gotta get good at a game to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty decently good at Breath of the Wild at this point.
Yeah.
But.
So what else on the list today? You want to talk about China? We can talk about China if you want. Do you want to talk?
Why do we keep Fine China in our?
not the dishes, the
Tibet.
We don't want to talk about Tibet.
Taiwan.
We got whatever. South America. Anyway, I don't want to talk about China. We can talk about. Remember we mentioned before? I mentioned before the Skinwalker show.
Oh yeah.
The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Oh. So the new season is out right now on Amazon Prime. Not to plug it, but it's pretty good, pretty interesting. It's kind of a lot of the same stuff over and over again at this point.
I mean, unless you start faking stuff, which is what you do.
They're doing a lot of really interesting experiments, but some of the experiments are just a little redundant. I'm waiting for them to actually find something that they can tangibly show evidence of, either a spacecraft underground or something. Just it feels like it's just being drug out. So,
well, I think the problem is you're just not going to find much tangible evidence of stuff.
Well, they have a lot of, at least they're displaying a lot of.
I have not watched this show, so I cannot tell you.
But they're displaying a lot of signal and visual anomalies, within in the electromagnetic field, and then with things in the sky and stuff like that. But they haven't. There's nothing concrete that's been displayed yet. So we're in 4th season now. So we've been doing this for 4 years, and we still have nothing. So we're not nothing, but we still have no. How much more time do we use watching this show to figure out?
Yeah, this gets to the point where they would be like, okay, we're not going to fund anymore unless you have anything, and that's where, unfortunately, where ghost hunting shows.
Well, so the guy on the show, Travis, whatever his name is,
Barker,
not Travis Barker, different Travis, from Alabama, apparently.
The band?
No, not the band, Alabama, the state, the one that's just below Tennessee.
Oh.
Yeah, where all the rednecks live, I guess. I don't know.
All of them. Every redneck.
Anyway, he was part of the whole UFO, UAP, ATIP thing, that the government investigation where they released all the videos that Tom DeLonge had and everything else.
Yeah.
So
Tom DeLonge,
he's interlaced with all that. But
Being someone who does know Travis Barker.
Tom DeLonge does know Travis Barker, yes.
I'd
In fact,
assume.
they're on tour together right now.
I'd assume they know each other.
In a
Like,
band.
who is that?
Yeah.
Who's that guy standing behind me?
If you want to see something funny,
Do you see him too?
if you go back and you watch Travis Barker's interview on Joe Rogan a couple years ago, he has really funny stories to say about Tom DeLonge and his alien hunting that are worth paying attention to. He was talking about how like they would go out in the middle of the desert and just go camping and just look for UFOs and shit. Like they'd get high and look for UFOs.
I bet they found some when you
I bet they did.
You find a lot of things when you go out into the middle of the desert and
Get high.
camp and get high.
Well, I mean, if you go out there, there's no light pollution or anything, so you can see the sky a lot better. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, but the problem is like the sky is so big, so you don't even know where you're supposed to be looking.
Yeah.
This is the whole problem with Contact. That Contact told us about trying to find an extraterrestrial.
Right. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that movie. That was a good movie.
You know what was wild about Contact that seems so different now? Like, Contact was about all these scientists being like, no, we don't believe this is fringe stuff. It was like early mid-90s.
Right.
Like, this is all fringe looking for extraterrestrial life.
Right.
And now that's what it feels like all of science is doing. All of like astronomy is.
No, that's just what's in the zeitgeist and popular zeitgeist. That's not what science is doing.
Yeah.
Like, science is still doing science. They're still researching.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, astronomers are still looking for habitable planets.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they are.
We can't obviously find out, oh, there's a planet. I wonder if it has life on it. There's no way for us to know if another planet has life
Really,
on it.
isn't that the kind of the goal for astronomy is to discover
Yeah.
new planets, new stars, new solar
Yeah.
systems, new
So-
galaxies.
So it feels weird, like Contact was like, no, this is very fringe. This
Yeah,
isn't
that's
ghost
true.
hunting. This is them looking for
That's true.
life out there.
Like the whole reason you have a receiver for those kinds of signals, those radio signals, is to see if you pick anything up. So like, why are you surprised that you're picking something up? So
That's like the
I
famous
want to watch that movie again.
the wow, or what was the whoa signal or the wow signal?
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Like that was in the 70s.
Yeah.
So do you want to explain this for those who are listening? That
I don't know. If Donnie was here, he would explain it.
yeah, it'd be so much better. I just hoped you knew because it has. We don't know if it's intelligent life or if it's just some kind of like burst or whatever.
Yeah.
But they picked up a signal that was much higher than the background signal. Basically, it was way high, and someone wrote on it. Was it wow or whoa?
Something like that.
Wrote that on the paper where they picked up the signal.
Yeah.
And they don't know what it is because it was the 70s, and they just picked it up once and then it was gone.
Yeah.
So it did not even sure if it was actually
It's an anomalous signal.
out from outer space or from Earth.
Yeah. Yep.
Like Arrival. Have you ever seen Arrival?
Mm-mm.
Have you ever seen The Arrival with Charlie Sheen?
No.
It's a wild movie.
I think I'm pretty dead set against watching any Charlie and Sheen movies.
Oh, this is from the early 90s.
Even still.
Yeah. Arrival with, is it Amy Adams?
I don't know.
It was like a 2016, 2017 movie. Great movie.
Really?
Yeah, it was nominated for Best Picture.
I may pick that up and watch it.
It is a great movie. She's a linguist, and they hire her, and these like alien spacecrafts come down to Earth, and they hire her to try to make contact to communicate with aliens. And it is such a good movie, and wonderful and disturbing, and just understanding of human reaction to this type of thing, and the different levels of emotions and reactions that people would have in this setting.
That's interesting.
Without giving too much away about the plot.
Yeah, no, I'll check it out. Check it out. We should do like a movie review episode or something like that. Have you seen Love, the 2011 movie Love?
No.
The one by Tom DeLonge? It's about
Love?
no, well, it's about human isolation. It's about an astronaut who gets basically trapped on the space station. Basically, the apocalypse happens on Earth while he's in the space station alone, and he basically has to survive. And he's there for like 20 years, and then finally he makes contact with like. By that point, like most of humanity's been. Anyway, I'm spoiling too much. It's about isolation and about the human psyche and about human connection.
That reminds me of Moon. Have you seen Moon?
I haven't seen
With
that.
Sam Rockwell? He's on the moon.
Oh, is that what it is?
Isolated. He's in
Oh.
isolation on the moon doing a mission It's like a few-year mission, and it is profoundly isolating. I maybe the same with but it is so weird. The problem with Moon is, and it'll throw you off right at the start, is Kevin Spacey voices a robot in it, and that is wild to watch it now.
Yeah.
Back then it was okay. And I was like, oh, can we just do another voice?
So many freaking like actors and celebrities, absolute douchebags.
Yeah, in the early 90s, we should have known, because early mid-90s, Kevin Spacey was the bad guy, the unknown bad guy in several movies, and we just never knew it.
Really?
That he was also the unknown bad guy in real life. Yeah, this is getting into spoilers.
He's not the unknown bad guy. He's one of several hundred or thousand unknown bad guys.
He was an unknown. Now he's known, like so many others.
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein and all that.
Sure, Charlie Sheen. Yeah.
Bill Cosby.
Just pick a name out of a hat. And
Louis C.K.
Find someone who's not a fucking douchebag. That's what I want you to do. That should be our goal, is to find a celebrity who's not a fucking douchebag.
It's about being repentant of it, which we're talking about people who are not repentant at all.
Sure.
None of these people that we just mentioned, they got caught doing bad things. They admitted to it. They got charged, and they're just like, whatever.
That's true.
So there's a difference. I've seen like people, and I'll give Casey Affleck some credit on this. People are effy on him. He did some pretty terrible things.
Did he?
And then he apologized for it and said it was bad.
Well, if he apologized for it, then I guess he's...
Well, I'm not saying that makes him a good guy, but that at least makes him one who apologized, which is, believe it or not, rare.
Fair enough. I don't know what Casey Affleck did. But
I don't know all the details either.
They can Google it. We're not going to be the gossipers. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, Kevin Spacey was the bad guy, and spoilers for the next 30 seconds. 7 and The Usual Suspects.
I've seen neither of those.
Oh, well, I just ruined The Usual Suspects for you. I didn't ruin 7 for you, but do not go and watch that movie unless you want to never watch that movie again.
I'll just watch the CinemaSins version of it.
It's so disturbing. It's one of those movies. Do you know those movies where you watch it one time and you're like, that was a good movie. I am never watching that movie again.
Yeah, and I do know
that some of those movies are 7 is that movie. 7 is a movie that's very well done. It's a very good execution, and it's so gritty in what it is, and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and you're like, it was good, but no.
Was it a horror movie or something?
It's a crime thriller.
Drama thing.
Basically, they're going after a serial killer who's committing the 7 deadly sins, basically. He's using the 7 deadly sins as a part of his act. And it stars Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman and Gwyneth Paltrow.
And Casey Affleck.
Not Casey Affleck.
Oh.
Dude, name Kevin Spacey.
Oh, Kevin Spacey. Sorry. You got my douchebag mixed up.
But you don't see him much in the film.
Yeah.
Because they don't show you him until it's, until this wild section of the film. And it's a famous scene. I think at this point most people know how that movie ends.
I don't. Yeah, we need to.
I'll give you one hint. Here we go to it. Have you ever heard the phrase, "What's in the box"?
No.
Oh my goodness. Adam is just not in the cultural zeitgeist.
I'm not.
He's in the zeitgeist of aliens. He's in the alien zeitgeist, not the...
I guess. I don't even like the movie Aliens, or Alien, or any of those.
You don't like Alien? Mm-mm. Alien and Aliens are two very different types of movies.
I haven't seen either one of them.
Alien is a very horror
or
movie.
Or Predator, or any of those.
And Aliens is a sci-fi movie. It's weird to say, but it makes sense when you see them.
I think the last alien-related movies that I've seen were... There's one movie I saw a few years ago.
Called John Jacob?
I forget what it was called, but it was about...
Aliens?
The moon landing, and about the rocks on the moon turning into creatures and killing the astronauts or something, and then that's why we never went back to the moon or something.
Was this Apollo 18?
It may have been.
I heard some movie about like the one that we never.
Yeah.
There was another Apollo landing.
Yeah, it was freaking stupid. And I was like,
have you? For those who didn't know, Apollo 17 was the last actual Apollo mission. 18, 19, and 20 were planned, but they were scrapped before they went on. This is saying 18 wasn't scrapped. It went on as planned, but the moon killed the people.
That's right. Yeah, it was basically that.
And then they decided
and the rocks like grew legs and shit, and they were all like...
This is a Zelda enemy. This is a Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom enemy where the rocks get up and start chasing you and punching.
That's probably where they got the idea from. One of them got the idea from a different one.
I don't think anybody saw... Any of the developers probably saw Apollo 18.
I don't think anyone saw it. I think I was the only one.
Yeah, you're the only one like, I mean, look at this. I got 80... You're in the theater like, nobody else is here. This is so cool. 3 hours later... I wasted my life.
It's like watching The Passion of the Christ. It's just torture porn.
Yeah. Or 7 is a little bit not that torturous, but yeah, The Passion of the Christ is a movie I've seen once and I'll never see again. I'm not really sure it's a good movie.
It's not.
It's
torture porn.
Yeah, I don't think it does what it set out to do. I just don't think what it set out to do was very good. Or helpful.
Christians ate that shit up, man. Christians ate that shit up.
And they didn't eat up freaking Jonah, a VeggieTales movie.
Yeah, what's up with that?
That's a better one. That was fun. I love Jonah.
Yeah.
Because they're smacking fish at each other.
Yeah.
That's what they...
Remember all the old Christian movies? Like the ones with like Michael B. Smith and stuff like that?
I remember, what was it? Left Behind. I think I saw the first Left Behind.
Oh, yeah.
There was the Nicolas Cage Left Behind movie I never saw, but... Should have seen it. But then there was the Omega Code. We had the Buttercream Gang too when we were kids. Probably don't remember that. It was a Christian adjacent. It wasn't like overtly Christian, but it was.
Was it a movie?
Yeah. It had a sequel. It was from FHE. Do you remember FHE? Dang. No. Okay. Well, I don't know what to say about that.
I remember this movie that was like in a church with like Ice Cube or something in it. What was it? It was like Ice Cube was like robbing a church or something. I forget. Anyway. Yeah. Weird Christian movies back in the day.
There were a lot. There still are. I mean, God's Not Dead has God's Not Dead 2.
Yeah. There's more than that. There's like 3 or 4 of them.
There's God's Not Dead, God's Not Dead 2, Electric Boogaloo, God's Not Dead with a Vengeance.
God's Still Not Dead.
What was God 5? It's like the Fast and the Furious and the God's Not Dead. It would go God's Not Dead, To God, To Not Dead.
Right.
What was the third one called? God's Not Dead, Tokyo Drift.
Right.
I forgot what Fast and Furious 4 was. That just called Fast and Furious?
God's Not Dead, Jonah's Revenge.
God 5. What was Fast and the Furious 6?
God's Not Dead, The Resurrection.
And then the last one, the 10th one, would be God X.
Oh my God.
Oh, there's Fate of the Furious. That was one of them. So it would be like the fate of not being dead.
There's Fate of the Furious?
Yeah. My favorite thing about the God's Not Dead song, and I think I've talked about this on a podcast before, because the line goes, the chorus, the Newsboys song.
Yeah.
God's not dead, he's surely alive, living on the inside, roaring like a lion. And that's exactly what you would say about someone who's died. Grandma's not dead, she's on the inside. It's like, did you not think about that when you wrote that?
You overthink worship songs.
That's probably the problem. But it does, it's that whole thing, it's the whole... When you teach little Christian kids, there's Jesus and there's Santa Claus. And they turn 8. Santa Claus is not real. What about Jesus? He's still real.
Right.
It's like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Santa gave me gifts. What has Jesus given me?
Are you teaching your kid about Jesus and Santa and the Easter Bunny and Muhammad and all the other fictional characters?
I mean, Muhammad and Jesus weren't fictional characters. Neither was Santa.
I mean, you know.
They've been... they are all real people.
What was the South Park called? I forget what they're called.
And yeah, if you go with Easter Bunny and you go with South Park, then yeah, the Easter Bunny was a real person too.
Easter Bunny was real in South Park.
What was Peter Rabbit. That is the funny... Okay, of all the South Parks, that one was great. That one where...
Do you do the tooth fairy thing yet?
Tooth fairy? No, she's too young.
Oh, fair enough.
She hasn't lost any teeth.
Yeah.
We did the pacifier fairy, which comes before the tooth fairy. Pacifier fairy is when you give up your pacifiers.
There's a pacifier fairy.
Yeah. So, kids love pacifiers. Well, they shouldn't have them forever, so you have to get rid of the pacifiers.
Sure.
One of the easiest ways to do it, and the way we did it, is we did the pacifier fairy, which you read a book, and it's about how you put your pacifiers. It's like the tooth fairy. You just put it in a box outside, and the pacifier fairy will take them away. So the story goes different ways. Either they become stars, or little fairies ride them as boats. There's a few versions to this. It's not as concrete as the Easter Bunny or the tooth fairy. And then where you put it in a box outside the door in the morning, a gift will be there. And so when we did that, our daughter was like looking around at that morning, like noticed the pacifier was gone and got the gift. And she kept, before we actually switched it out, she kept looking out to try to see if the pacifier fairy was going to come, just because she wanted to catch the pacifier fairy. But she got her gift, and she loved her gift.
What was her gift?
It was a singing baby shark.
Oh, that's not annoying at all.
It was like a nighttime one, so it was like a very baby shark. I think I can sing that. I don't know.
That song is annoying.
It is annoying, but it was a much softer version. And then it had like a few modes.
I'm going to get her one of those little chicken things that you squeeze.
Oh my goodness. No.
Give it to
Do
her.
not give my child something. She has enough toys that she just... What is it about children that first of all, why on earth do toy companies have 2 volumes on everything? So there's off, low volume, high volume on every toy that makes noise for kids. Because you know what parents, and I know this from experience, always put it on low volume. And kids always flip it up to high volume. And that is annoying and loud. And I'm like, why do we have a high volume? Do these kids need this loud? No.
I couldn't tell you.
They can hear it at low volume.
I couldn't tell you.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've gone off the rails.
We have. But yeah, I think we're good. So yeah, look for some more videos from us soon, and some more podcasts from us soon. We're getting back into the swing of things here with this episode, so maybe next week we'll have a more structured, topical. We will.
Okay.
We're gonna write something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read straight from a script next time. I'm just gonna write out a script and just read straight from it.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see how that works.
Terrible, probably, because podcast
probably.
going straight from a script has got to be the most boring thing in the world.
Yeah, that's
unless you're like reading, unless you're doing that type of podcast. There are podcasts where you read from a script.
Yes. But I can't read, so
story podcast. But this is not a story podcast. This is a back and forth.
It is. It's a dialogue. It's a conversational podcast.
I did write us back long ago before with our first iteration. Whatever it was called, type something, typo, negative. I don't know. We had some type something.
Type 3.
Type 3.
Yeah.
Wow. I wrote us lots of scripts for, I think, the videos.
Really?
We're going to do part of it. Yeah. Do you not remember? This was like 2014.
Yeah, when I was trying to do all this, and you guys were like...
I was very much into it. I wrote scripts out for the video portion, because you were going to do the podcast and I was going to do the video.
Yeah.
Or be focused on that. And I wrote like 3 or 4 scripts.
Yeah,
one was called Is the Legend of Zelda Misandrist?
Yeah. What was it?
Is the Legend of Zelda Misandrist?
I don't know what that means.
Hates men.
Oh.
I don't remember what the point of it. Another one is Waiting on Invisible Cars, which I thought was great.
Waiting on invisible cars.
Yep.
Huh. No reason why we can't explore those topics.
I think we should, now that I've said them.
Yeah.
I don't remember why the Legend of Zelda might be misandrist. I don't remember. It's not. It was a nice. I knew it was a catchy term that would actually probably get some clicks, because it's a word you don't see often. But those who know what it is would be like, "What the heck is this?" But I cannot remember. I have to see if I can find that sheet, that paper, because I like physically wrote it out on paper. I didn't type it. But yeah. I do remember the concept of waiting on invisible cars.
Well, now we're doing it, so we'll do it.
Yeah, we're going to do it sometime. And it'll probably be a podcast form because I think it'll work better as a podcast than it will. Or maybe we should do it as a podcast and a video.
Yeah.
Like a duplicate where one's a podcast. It's like a 20-minute thing as a podcast and a 20-minute video.
We can do that.
Be fun. Okay. Well,
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
That's the point of all of this.
Yep. Have fun.
Yep.
Well, that was...
All right.
So today we talked about The Legend of Zelda Sandwich with
Mario Odyssey.
With Mario Odyssey sesame seeds on top.
Yeah.
And some chips of Coachella and Blink-182 sauce. Yeah. And of course with the dessert of random movies about space
and aliens and shit.
Yeah, and just weird stuff.
Yeah. So see you next time.
Yeah. I've been Jess.
I've been Adam.
Yeehaw!
We're not putting that in there.
Life is not written in. We change, we grow, we make mistakes, we learn, and eventually we fade away. Life is written in pencil. Thank you for listening to the In Pencil podcast.